Alright, guys. Well, guess what? It's the upper bracket of the HomeStory Cup finals here. Reynor for Basilisk in the top left, Clem in the bottom right. Team Liquid against Basilisk, a classic matchup. Clem versus Reynor, two of the fastest kids in the entire world. I say kids, but they are both men now, let's be real. They both graduated to manhood probably about a decade ago. But they are so freaking good, and I can't wait to see how they're going to be playing the new patch. So what are the build orders, guys? First of all, straight up to 12 here. Is this going to be 12 Overlord into Extractor Trick for Reynor? That's what Lambo's been doing. I've heard that's the best way to do it, and he's going to be doing that, though. I believe some other players are doing it differently. Things are still being figured out. That was an 11 Depot. Now, what's interesting, guys, that 11 Depot. So there is a build order here where I think some of the top Terrans, let's see, going to go 13. So it's 13 barracks. Okay, so you see he went the depot earlier than he needed it, specifically so his SCV was finished building the depot in time to build the barracks. But notice, we're not cutting SCVs to build the gas. Clem is going to go 13 barracks, 14 gas. And that means the gas is too late to build the Reaper straight away. This is a really weird opening, but one you're going to be seeing more of from players who really prioritize getting the orbital up early. Now, I don't know how efficient this is. Like, how important is rushing the orbital command center and dropping mules? Because to me, it feels like it would be better to just go command center first or a gasless build and thereby get that natural up much faster, as well as not have 3 workers on gas. Can notice only 10 workers on minerals here. And like I said, the gas does not line up. So this is a really weird looking build at face value. You see he misses just 1.5, maybe seconds of SCV production, gets the orbital started. I've always been on the other side of, you know, build the extra SCV, build the barracks and the gas, both on 14 supply. Reaper starts the second the barracks finishes, and then you just start the orbital on 17. Obviously, I was doing the 12-12 build sometimes as well, which is a little bit different, where you do get that Reaper out really early. But interesting twist here for Clem, which he seems to be enjoying, and he's going to go for that blind 1-rax expand. As that was an odd lag spike. Have we got the normal? Oh, interesting. We'll see if the lag spikes continue. Hopefully not too much, as Reynor in the top left side has gone hatch gas pool. So looks pretty standard, just the way this is timing out. Let me just check the timings. 45 seconds from 222. Yeah, it's 137. Super standard. This is either 15 or 16 hatch into 17 pool, and it's going to be 2 queens, 4 zerglings immediately to greet that Reaper. Now, a lot of players have been staying on 2 base a lot longer rather than rushing the 3rd. 2 base Muta is really good. We have seen a little bit of 2 base Roach. Not nearly as common as it used to be, but I'm also keen to see Ravager Ling all-ins and just, in general, all the sorts of weird timings that are available. Now, Clem has not played... okay, second gas goes down for Clem. I was going to say he's not... I couldn't tell if he was going 3rd command center or not, but he is going to be doing so. Reynor with the 6 Zerglings buying a lot of time here. And the Queen comes out. We'll push that Reaper away. Oh, almost traps the Reaper, but not quite. Reaper goes back in and actually punishes by getting a Zergling kill. Nicely played. But yeah, second gas comes in. So this is going to be immediate Hellions into Starport. And I imagine Banshee, but I actually really would love to see a Liberator or a Viking mixed in. And I really want to see quick Hellbat timings mixed in. I want to see how those actually fare. Reynor has Evelings in position. Well, not perfectly. And the Reaper's going to slide by, which means he could pick off a Zergling on the way out. Oh, he only got 1 shot off. He didn't fire with his second pistol there. Those who don't know, units like the Reaper that have 2 attacks, 1 left pistol, 1 right pistol, it actually is very slight timing difference between those 2. So you can actually interrupt your attack halfway through, essentially only half of his attack firing one of those 2 pistol shots. There's a few different units that work like this. I think Queens are the same, where they throw 2 needles at the opponent as well. Just one of those little things to keep an eye out for. First 2 Hellions heading forwards across the map. Starport swapping over. No pulling off gas here. He does want to go cloak immediately. 3rd base goes down just before 4 minutes. So you can see Reynor's big priority was get the natural saturated as quickly as possible. Queens are expensive. Hatcheries are expensive. The early game, you need to race to getting your natural saturated by 4 minutes. Then you can take a 3rd base. Then you can build extra Queens and Zerglings for defense, adding a few more drones, and potentially droning up that 3rd as it gets a bit closer to done. The Reaper does go down. Nice cleanup there for those Zerglings. Only 1 Ling so far has gone down for Reynor, and 1 Reaper has fallen. So a massive start for the Italian Stallion. Hellion's going to rotate. No 3rd command center just yet. I think that's normal with this build. You have to build a lot of depots to keep up Hellion Banshee production. Remember, command centers also only offer, I think it's 13 supply now rather than the old 15. And Reynor is going to go for a lair. It's going to be well timed. You'll see the lair will finish up roughly when Cloak finishes, which means he can make overseers to defend. It would be greedy to skip spores entirely, but it is an option. Of course, Reynor has played quite blind this game. He has no idea what's going on. The only thing he can read is the fact that the Hellions have been produced so non-stop. It means one of two things. Clem's either going for starport, immediately building an air unit like he's in this game, in which case his third command center is quite delayed, only starting close to 5 minutes, which is what the case is. The other alternative is if there's no starport. If it's Hellions and a third command center, but he's skipping the starport and the second gas, doing kind of an old school, get 4 Hellions out. In this case, I mean, it's 6 Hellions now, but go for a bunch of Hellions, build second and third barracks, double engineering bay after that. But hold on. Here comes the Banshee. Great focus fire on that queen that has high energy there. Lings are going to come forward, and I don't think Clem can get in there. Reynor. Ooh, got a good angle with the Zerglings as well. He's going to clean up a lot of these Hellions. Doesn't need to chase off creep, though. But, oh, he's going to try. Oh, Reynor even microed 2 of the Lings to move fast. And another Hellion goes down. That's 19 Zerglings for a Banshee, 7 Hellions and a Reaper. That's a shutdown. It's an amazing opening right now for Reynor. His third is saturated. He has a Spore in the main, the third, and the natural. Baneling Nest is on the way. And I think if Reynor can get out to a 4th base as he adds more drones and gases, that'll be excellent. That's the first drone kill of this game. Indeed, it is. With the 3rd base only now coming up. Solid 12 worker lead. It feels really nice for Reynor. Notice he's only on 6 queens. The 7th and 8th queens do come out later. So I think one thing that's kind of interesting to see is, compared to when aggressive timings can hit, hellbat timings, that sort of thing, Zerg does not have as many queens out by default. And the fact there was no Baneling Nest or Roach Warren really makes me wonder if an old school either Hellbat Marauder timing or a 420 light 'em up build, which is a silly nickname for the build that used to hit it would hit at 4 minutes 20 with 6 Hellbats, 4 Marines, and a medevac. It's old school, early legacy timing, and the original very, very fearful Hellbat timing that so many players used to struggle with back when people were figuring it out. I believe the original 420 light 'em up timing, you would actually cut SCVs to hit that as sharp as possible. I think it might have been even off a gas first. But, I mean, there's very, very many ways to hit those fast Hellbat timings. The point is, it's kind of like Starport builds a medevac, Marines build out of the barracks with no add-on, Factory pumps 6 Hellions, they morph. It's a very scary push, but see if we find out any of that later in the series. For now, it's just siege tanks. And, oh, Chadhammer not staying at home. She's going to come forwards. But 1-1 in shields, not quite timing out with this. And Clem, he's rallying to his third, but he's down 18 workers. This attack needs to do some damage. Bane speed, only 20 seconds out. 21 Zerglings, 6 Banelings, not a big army. And look at that siege tank. What a position. Not to mention, guys, the creepers spread here, which means these rocks on the top are no longer dying. Unless he breaks those rocks will not go down on their own. Queens are defending. Got to keep the Banelings out of that tank range. Lings, think about flanking this position. Got to be careful. So yeah, these will break on their own, guys, off creep. And you can see these ones, they'll be gone now because there's no creep there. But these ones have stopped decaying. You have to attack those with Queens or Zerglings at some point. Clem pulls back, doesn't want to lose position here, doesn't want to lose the siege tank. So I really like this rotation. And moving onto this bridge, an area where Zerg never wants to engage. Other side of the map, second factory's coming up. Armory as well. 4th and 5th barracks now having reactors, which means you can get up to 9 Marines building at a time. Of course, one of them has a tech lab, still finishing combat shields. 4th command center goes down out front. It's always a thing where it feels risky to put this out here, but also you don't want to go hide it in the back and have to float all the way out to your 4th base. This map is fantastic for late game Terran, by the way. Compact 5 base setup, really hard for Zerg to break that. I think this is probably the best map for Terran late game in the pool. Very familiar map. Couple Banelings and Zerglings get taken down. Marines moving around the right. Oh my god, when did he set this up? Borrowed Banelings? No way. The Marines do move past. Ooh, Ling Bane rolling forwards. I don't think that Widowmine's quite in range. Remember, guys, there's been a lot of changes with the hotfix this week. Reapers do build 2 seconds slower. Hold on. I'll talk about that later. The Marines catching Reynor, not looking. A few Queens go down. The Lings are sick of this siege tank, but I don't think that's a good idea. It just seems like a half-cock chase for Reynor. Reynor seems angry. He's kind of chasing there in a little bit of a rage, but I guess there's not enough Marines to actually unload there, so fair enough. Reinforcements are arriving. Remember, Reapers build slower, guys. You've got Widowmines fire quicker. So after locking on, it's like 0.8 seconds. It used to be a full second, essentially, which is pretty big of a difference, about 20% change there. Oh my gosh. Burrowed Banelings, not quite finding the opening. Oh, the scan just barely misses them. That Widowmine just got a massive boom. Less time than ever to split against those Widowmines when you see them coming forward. Something you've got to watch out for. Remember, Widowmine Splash has been nerfed over the years. The radius is not quite as big as it once was, but look at that. Reynor immediately puts those banelings back on the ramp. I think slightly to the right. Usually a little bit more reliable, but it's impossible to predict exactly where Clem's going to click his units. Hive is halfway done. Hydra's coming in. Interesting to see the Hydra play. Haven't seen as much Hydras on this patch. Hold on. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, he missed it. He missed it, he missed it, he missed it. Reynor, not happy with that. He did miss the opportunity there to get a big boom boom, but he might be able to get Clem to retreat over it. You're not always going to be watching it, you know, to manually detonate those. Oh, hold on, he's going to go for it now. Clem quickly pulling back, trying to run away, but he picks up just before walking over those banelings, and Reynor just getting teased right now. Banshee on the right side finally gets pushed away. A lot of people used to always ask, they say, why don't people just put banelings on auto detonate? The reason is, if you put them on auto detonate, which is an option, they will just detonate on the first enemy unit that walks over. Chances are that's a single Marine or Marauder or a siege tank at the front of the army. And you're going to kind of obviously detonate on a very low value target. You want to wait until your opponent's right over the top before you detonate those. Oh, looks like banelings connected on this side, but the drop in the main could find damage. The Spore Crawler went down. Quad drop does pick up and tries to fly away, but losing medevacs and marines not cheap. Reynor has the supply advantage. 3-3s on the way for Terran. Planetary on the 4th. He's got another starport. 3 more barracks building. Adrenal glands coming in as well. Banshee on the right side. 10 kills. Carapace actually making it so the Banshee now takes 3 shots rather than 2 to kill those drones. Quite frustrating. 33% drop in efficiency from the pre-Carapace timing. And I think even +1 Carapace will achieve that, guys. I could be wrong. But I think because of regen, +1 Carapace takes the Banshee low enough on damage to not 2-shot. I could be incorrect on that, actually, because isn't it 12 times 2? Yeah, I actually think it's only +2 Carapace, actually. Never mind. Marine Widowmine here, getting some good shots off, but got to be careful. That Widowmine does hit a bunch of the medevacs. Those 2 Widowmines only hit medevacs. Oh my, Clem. Got to be careful, losing quite a few units here. Against now a 5-base Zerg with Vipers, with 3-3, with Adrenal. This is a massive situation right now for Reynor. Can Reynor push in and punish Clem? Clem has been a little behind in this game. It does feel like hard to keep up with Zerg on this new patch. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, the lava was nerfed for Zerg in that most recent hotfix, but was it nerfed enough is the question a lot of people are going to be asking. The Marines come forward, gunning down so much. That Widowmine doing really well. Oh my god, he gets every single baneling. Clem! Oh my god. Oh my lord. Dude, I think the unit's lost tab was close to even. I wish I checked it before that fight. I'll have to go back in the replay to check that. Oh my lord, he's going to get every Hydra as well. Reynor does not have groove spines, by the way. Reynor and forgetting Hydra upgrades, Hydra upgrades, name a more iconic duo. I was wondering why those Hydras were so close with those Marines. Only 5 range. Normally they outrange the Marines by 1. But not in this particular game. Now you can abduct Widow Mines, but pretty expensive just to pull one of those Widow Mines out of the ground. And abducting that would have been really, really nice. But Reynor struggling on the front. He's going to roll banelings here towards Clem's Marine Mine. Marine pullback was pretty crisp, though. Trying to morph more units on the front. Reynor's had a lot of money to work with, but the efficiency dropping off in that last engagement. Drop comes in on the right side. Barely pulls it back from the Spore Crawler. The fact he's kept that alive is Clem making a lot happen with very, very little. Sorry, very tense here watching this series. I'm like, oh my lord. I forgot what it's like casting these two just shanking each other from start to finish. Reynor on 91 workers. If he could get some more multi-prongs, that'd be really nice. But uh-oh, Clem does not know about that burrowed baneling. And it's a nice one. Gets about 9 Marines there. Not bad at all. More banelings over here. These ones have been spotted. And they do get taken out. Looks like the drop on the right side got cleaned up. Widow Mines getting a few decent shots, but in general, guys, Widow Mines only really get the big shots consistently when you are standing and fighting with them. Because otherwise it's too easy for the Zerg to just split off the front units, drag those Widow Mine shots away from the mass. The Marines turn around, they get one of the Vipers, but of course dangerously close to those banelings. Parasitic Bomb does force the medevacs to split. The Bio pulling away here. Chadham is still there behind it. A few of the Marines do get blown up by those banelings. On the right side, you can see that worker line has been evacuated. 10 SCVs going down in the process. But 4 bases are up and solid. And remember, for Clem, he's only recently at the point where his main is half mined out. Now his natural is half mining out as well. Still got 2 full bases mining, but of course at this point, 14 minutes onwards, getting that 5th base online is so essential. And it's only at this point that Reynor takes his base number 6 as Terran takes their 5th base. Normal 1 base advantage for Zerg. Nothing to write home about. I think we've got to realize Groove Spine's finally coming in, a massive, massive upgrade that's been missing for Reynor. Widow Mines on those Zerglings. Not a bad first shot, but these SCVs getting evacuated. The Orbital not able to defend itself. The Lib count, though, 9 Liberators. Liberators very powerful against Hydras. Of course, the Vipers can abduct some of these, but you can only abduct 4 of those with 2 full energy Vipers. SCVs getting ransacked off the 5th base and the 4th. Reynor with fantastic counterattacks. Clem tried to do a bit of a timing attack here. This is kind of like a bio-lib surprise attack. He was hoping he could bait Reynor into finding that. Reynor does not take the bait. Reynor's still minimizing those Widow Mine shots pretty well. Yes, 2 hatcheries go down, but a lot of workers fall for Clem as well. And oh my god, he's going to dive. Absolute mad lad. He's going to use a dropship with quite a few units inside. He does take out some of the spores, but he's got to siege these libs on top of the high ground. He's got to be careful to spread his libs out. Notice he's trying to spread the libs so they don't all die to power bomb. He knows that that's one of the big problems that happen, but the Vipers have already used their energy. You can see the Hydras and the Banes moving up into this ramp. He's got a pre-spreader bio. A lot of Liberators, though. The Marines trying to fall back. The Banelings do somewhat connect. The Liberators trading out pretty well. The Hydra's struggling with that. Other units F2ing through the middle. Oh my god, what chaos. What chaos is this? The Libs putting up a very good fight, though, and Reynor does not have money to fight back. When was the last time we saw someone win with that sort of move? Pick up boost into the bait. I mean, his 4th's not mining, his 5th is getting back up. But damn. And Hydras really struggle with Libs. Corruptors are great against them. Vipers can help. Obviously, Corruptors are the hard counter unit, but I think this all started with that failed attack on the 3rd over there, where I was saying I was going to check the unit's loss tab, so let's go do that. All right, guys, so it was about 2,000... Yeah, let's just say 2,000 in favor of Clem before this fight starts. You can see, comes in. Oh, does take a nasty Widow Mine at the start of that fight, didn't he? But it's mostly Hydra Bane, lacking groove spines, not the end of the world. He does have plus on range on the Hydras. Hive Tech not really coming in just yet. And you can see the Ling Bane gets a few SCVs, but he doesn't really have that much support. And it just feels like Reynor's army was a little bit too small here. Pause the game. He does have some Zerglings here. He does have 6 Queens, 3 Vipers. A lot of the Vipers are at home. I mean, the army, his supply just, I guess, wasn't that big on the front. A lot of the units in production, and Clem with some fantastic Widow Mine shots. Stims on top, punishes those Hydras. And this was a really good trade. Brought it to about a 4,000. Actually, by the end of this, almost 5,000 resource loss difference is crazy. Wow, yeah, it was. So that was about a 3,000 resource swing in Clem's favor. That was the first moment where I felt like Clem suddenly got back in control of the match. And to be fair, even when it felt like Reynor had more units and was doing really well, notice his creep isn't that big. Remember, creep spread has been slowed down. And one of the things I'm noticing is the creep spread is a bit less for Zerg in these games on this patch, but they've got higher supply. It's really interesting. It does feel like Zerg's a little ahead in these games, but the lack of map control means a guy like Clem, because there's less creep, is just darting in from all sides. And who knows, maybe the lesser creep is because I'm watching too many Clem games. Either way, great game one for Clem. Felt like that was a pretty nice comeback after a bit of a rough mid game. All right, guys, going on to BlackRock. Looks like, unfortunately, HomeStory Cup also is hosting the ladder version of BlackRock, which has super bright lighting. The lighting's messed up here. There is a BlackRock Tournament Edition. I've been trying to spread the word. Avex, the map maker, has told everyone, guys, it's the exact same map. I've just fixed the lighting. Please use the Tournament Edition. Hopefully it gets updated to ladder soon as well. But for now, this ultra bright Omega contrast version of the map is what we are playing with. So it's going to be that 11 depot again into the, was it a 17 orbital? 16? It's like 16 orbital, I think, is what Clem likes to go for. Reynor is going to go for the 12 Overlord Extractor Trick up, which I think is very good. I mean, I think you can just do 11 Overlord. If you guys aren't used to doing Extractor Tricks, you don't like doing them, I really do think 11 Overlord. We'll put out new guides about that in the near future. But we'll see how it goes. Clem seems addicted to Reapers. A lot of Terrans do. I really think more than ever, there's so much more benefit to not going for an early gas opening as Terran. And actually, oh no, yeah, this is still the same opening. 13 barracks, 14 gas. I don't know. For me, it just feels like it's really nice if you can do it that way. 15 hatchery for Reynor goes down about a minute 11, minute 12. And he should be building up 3 more drones, spawning pool, and then gas. You'll see Clem rally workers onto gas now. As this gas is finishing, you'll pull one off minerals, queues them to the inside. Nicely done. Over on Reynor's side, there you go. You see he's already built 2 more drones. That's the 3rd one about to pop. It'll build the spawning pool on 17. And there we go. 1 minute 37 is the timing, guys. If you do this kind of standard 15 hatch 17 pool, a minute 37 is when that spawning pool should be down. Gas goes down as well. SCV moving across the map. SCV's going to go and have a bit of a scout. So a very safe opening for Clem. I think that makes sense against Reynor. Reynor is a cheesy boy. That being said, haven't seen too many cheesy builds out of the Zergs this patch. If there was ever a time for it, it is right now. Since the lava production's been buffed without a queen, you go for an early pool. If you go for some sort of pool first shenanigans, I mean, the hatchery itself is just naturally pumping out lava at a more frequent rate, which means you can drone up behind aggression a bit smoother in the early game. It does make a tangible difference. I also think pool first is incredibly safe, but since Clem doesn't seem too keen to do his old 12 barracks, 12 gas Reaper that he was doing previously, where he was often building 2 Reapers before, or even Proxy Reaper. I think single barracks Proxy Reaper is so good, even against this, 15 hatch, 17 pool. 17 pool is pretty late. Single barracks Proxy Reaper, I think, could do very well. I wonder if Gumiho's been playing much on this patch. I kind of hope he has. I feel like if anyone's going to be putting 2 barracks outside your base, doing 6 Reapers to open into their expansion, it's going to be Gumiho. Figuring out whatever he can do to press the advantage. Surprisingly, Bjorn has not been enjoying the aggression at all in that regard. Bjorn's been the king of command center first. Clem here is the king of translating the 12 worker builds over, it feels, to the 8 worker start with the different minerals. Cure, of course, has been doing a bunch of fun jank, kind of translating his weird builds from 12 workers, like 2 barracks, low ground, but not Reapers, like Marine 2 barracks opening. Potential bunker push, that sort of stuff. Like he's been like a kind of a light bunker poke at the third is what I'd describe it as. Second gas goes down. No 3cc builds here for Clem. Looks like he's decided, no, double gas is the more standard way to play now. Get the Hellions out straight away, get darting around, get diving, and see what you can do. Now, Reynor's gone Ling speed. He's fully pulled off gas after that. And remember, the goal is to saturate this base before 4 minutes as quickly as possible, and then you can think about doing the next step. So, yes, he arrives at the third at 3:45, but look, he's already got enough drones built to saturate the natural. So it's only after you get enough drones built up to 32, 33 workers that third hatcheries, that sort of stuff becomes more important. Up to then, it's just 3 queens, Ling speed, and of course, more overlords and drones to get this next step going. Does need to keep the injects going on the hatchery. Kind of fascinating to see the different approaches players have been taking. And oh my gosh, here we go. Good Hellion drive-by, but great Evo chamber trick to buy some time. 2 drones go down, but I think Lings and Queen can easily block this ramp. Pull some drones to block the ramp as well. Nice micro there by Reynor. But he's losing a massive amount of mining time. And you can see the Hellions, they could just drive out of here. They've done the damage. Say, man, you're not mining from your natural for like 40 seconds. This is actually huge damage, even without killing many drones. It's a great start here for Clem. Reynor on struggle street right now. He's got to keep these queens split up. Oh my gosh, he's losing Hellions. Creep tumors, sorry, on both sides. The Hellions are the ones diving and taking those out so efficiently. Clem, you'd think, oh no, supply blocked on 50, but look at that depot timing. Look at that. Very nice. This is one of the things that feels the best as a Terran, guys. Just when you hit a supply block and then your depot finishes at pretty much the moment you get supply block. That's peak efficiency. Another depot does start on this natural wall off. Command center hasn't started just yet. Should be down. I think you can get this down before 5 minutes, honestly. But I guess he was microing his Hellions a lot, keeping up with everything else. 3 Spore Crawlers go down nice and early. Reynor not taking any risks on that. Cloak is still a little ways away, but you can see the Banshee's already arriving, so it does seem like a solid timing. Creep Tumor count's being lowered. There are only 2 Creep Tumors there. Actually getting ready to come in here from the edge of the map. 2 more barracks do go down, so that's going to be 3 barracks for Clem. Does he go double eBay, or does he go for gases next? Back on 12 worker, you'd normally go double gas, then engineering base here, because you've gone cloaked Banshee, and that costs a lot. Clem, moving his starport around, building a new reactor. Banshee rotating, Hellions poking in as well, and it is going to be double gas before engineering base. You can see there's a bit of a slowdown, though, between these buildings. In 12 workers, everything comes down in much quicker succession for a Terran build, where you can see it's staggered just a little bit more here on the 8 worker start. Not a massive amount. I mean, you're still at 44 workers against 54. It's no 6 worker start, that's for sure. The 8 worker start might sound similar to 6, but kind of splits the difference between the 2. Ooh, hello! Queen does take out that Banshee, and oh, the perfect bait. Gets back on creep for the transfuse just in time. Really nice defense for Reynor. Clem punishes, though. Gets 3. Oh, he wants more. This is dangerous. Now he's trapped himself. Has to commit into the pocket now because he saw he wasn't going to get out of there. Goes in with the Hellions. Does get a few more workers. And I mean, the mining time has been decent, but The problem here with this sort of trade is, Clem, is you've just given up all map control until your Marines get across the map. Now, he does have stim, but his 1-1 upgrades haven't started, and that's something I think a lot of players are struggling. If they're microing Hellion Banshee, the build's a little bit different, the timings are just not as natural, and I think that 1-1 starting at 7 minutes, well behind the 1-1 upgrades of Zerg. Zerg also has a 17 worker advantage. Luckily for Clem, Reynor's 4th has just started, so that economy onto the 4th base won't snowball yet, but Infestation pits fast, and that's why Clem really wants to do damage. He's moving forward right now. He does. Luckily, the Banshee comes back and clears this Overlord, because that Overlord was getting way too much vision for free. I mean, that was really, really painful to know he was being stared at that whole time. But he's going for Bio Mine, which is not going to be as good against Hydras, but guess what? It's not Hydras this time. It's Infestation. And I think that's great against Mass Ling into Ultras, which this is almost certainly going to be. That's really powerful. Now, he wants to go Hive and probably 3 Infestors almost immediately. I think Reynor's going to... Yeah. Hive starts up there. He's only got 150 extra gas, but he does start 2 Infestors already. He needs the gas for +2 Carapace as well, so 2 Infestors is actually correct. Look at how fast that was. +2 Carapace already clicked. Do we just see a Liberator? Okay, I just saw Clem's camera zipping around the bottom of Reynor's expansions. So he's clearly thinking about dropping the bottom right side. So these guys are going to rotate left after clearing this creep in the middle. He's going to try and pull Reynor's attention over here. Then he's going to try and zip in on this base from the right. Try to do some damage. He's also going 4 Infestors. I love that he's going lots of Infestors. You guys know that Clem's counter to Infestors. Most players play defensive against Infestors. Clem plays aggressive. He attacks into them on multiple sides and just tries to dodge fungals wherever he can. And you need to have a few extra fungals, because what he's often going to do is he'll catch an Infestor or he'll bait a fungal. He'll assume you don't have any fungal left and he'll dive in. And that's where having the backup Infestor with an extra fungal available can be massive. Oh, good pullbacks by Reynor. Look at that. Forces the pickup for Clem, but he pulls back at the last second as well. Beautiful defense. Meanwhile, Marines are defending on that top left side, or poking. The Queens are defending, I should say. Infestors have shown themselves. Hive is now finished. Adrenal Glands has got to be a priority on this Massling style. Yeah, Adrenal, Ultra Cav. Remember, Adrenal Glands is plus 40% attack speed for Zerglings. The later the game goes, it's rare for Zerglings to get any chance to just stand there and attack something without just dying, because they are so fragile. But it does happen occasionally. Widowmine gets targeted down. Marines go after the Overlord. They do take care of it. The Spore Crawler goes down. Let's look at that unit's loss tab. Clem, 1,200 resources ahead, but he's down 17 workers. 4th Command Center is almost finished, though. And remember, even though it feels like there's this moment that I'm noticing where Zerg gets like, they feel like they're just ahead in supply, but they're not actually ahead in supply. His creep is not that big. And remember, the main base is not mined out. So even though the 4th is significantly slower for Terran on this patch, the main's not going to mine out until about 10.5 minutes, maybe 11 minutes. Like, it's got another few minutes in there. Oh, Hellbats get intercepted, though. That's rough. Blue Flame's on the way, guys. He's going to go Hellbats here rather than Widowmine commit to help deal with the mass Zergling. But the Ultras are already in. Ultras are on the way. Of course, the 3rd base goes down. Infestor's trying to hold the line, but he's got so few Zerglings. This is a brutal timing for Clem. It might just find the weak spot. Once those Ultras come out, this is going to be massive. The Fungals really doing a great job with these tanking Queens. The Infestors throwing out the Fungals, chaining Fungals in the midst of the Marines. Really nice Fungals, guys. Beautiful Fungals. But +2 melee should probably be denied. That being said, Clem runs away from it. He's afraid, man. The Infestors, so many Fungals there, but the Ultras pop at the perfect timing. Unfortunately, no Fungal landing there, but that's okay. He's going to drop in the main. The Ultra could turn around. He's going to use Zerglings. Is Reynor, but Reynor splitting his units up just a little dodgily there with Adrenal Glands. He does not care. He's got 2-2, only 1-1 for Clem. And Clem was not able to find the timing to take care of Zerg before the Ultras are out, which puts now Clem in a very rough position. Hellbat's amazing against the Zerglings, but you gotta realize they will just get cleansed by Ultras pretty darn quickly. I don't know if that was damn or darned that I was saying. I think I just said damned. Damned. It's kind of like a hodgepodge cross between the two. Blue Flame Hellbat's gonna roast a few of those Zerglings. Remember, Hellbat's never one-shot Zerglings anymore. Even if you have Blue Flame and +3, they'll leave the Zergling on a single hit point. That got nerfed about 4 years ago, I want to say. 3 years? 4 years? Something like that. I feel like they buffed it to give them that, and then they took it away. I can't quite remember. I don't know when it got buffed to work like that, but I felt like it was one of those things where maybe it wasn't originally like that. They made it so they one-shot, and then they took it away a few years later. She's moving around the backside. Obviously, a lot of talk about changes and balance and stuff when we are casting the first big Premier tournament on the new patch, guys. And what a brave decision, I think, by HomeStory Cup to run a tournament on this. To be fair, they had reservations, and they made a post about it. They were just like, the pro players said, hey, if we don't play it now, like, where else is Blizzard going to get feedback, you know, and stuff? So we might as well test it in the tournament. And then if it's really crap, hopefully they see that and they change it faster rather than, you know, the game getting stuck on a patch that's not well tested. I think that makes a lot of sense. Corruptors are coming out for Reynor, and that's going to be a big addition because these medevacs, Banshee, these units roaming the map, so annoying. But once you add Banelings and Corruptors to your Ultraling Infestor army, oh my lord, it's such a power boost. Reynor's, of course, very gas shy. Keep in mind the gases do only have 2,000 gas on each geyser now, but Reynor hopefully fixes that gas mining. He did pull off there, I think, for an attack earlier. Ghosts coming in as well as 4 more commands. And his Blackrock's not a bad map to slow expand. It's very obvious the way you're meant to expand as Clem. I think Planetary here and expand to the left. You get 1, 2, 3, 4 bases all close to each other. You could go to the right side, but I think it's nowhere near as advisable as going to that top left. And I think it's a fantastic map for late game Terran Turtle if you are willing to play it. This map probably up there with Rainfall, maybe even better with the way some of these choke points, ledges, and sight blockers work against Zerg. Hold on, Ultra's jumping on with the Corruptors. Ling's trying to get in there, but unfortunately the Lings are getting blocked by the wall off. They'll tear it down pretty quickly though. Corruptors coming forwards on the front. Does he take the fight? Maybe, maybe not. Look at that. Reynor has to pull home. The Lings do breach the wall off. Every depot goes down at once. But that natural mineral line, Adrenal Gland Zerglings are actually insane. Their damage output, second to none. Missile Turret and Marine try to defend these libs, but the Corruptors happy to take a few losses to take care of some of those very expensive Liberators. Liberators are 150, 125. A Corruptor is 150, 100. So you might think, well, oh, that's only a 25 gas difference. But you got to realize as well, Zerg is expected to trade less efficiently than Terran by about, what, 25%, say, on average? Something like that. So anytime you are trading one Corruptor for one Liberator, it's going to feel really good as a Zerg. In that case, I don't think he traded too many. He only lost one Corruptor for a couple of libs. Queen's in the south side, going to buy a few seconds of time. He does not want to lose this hatchery again. Reynor struggling to deal with this drop. Another hatchery snipe, not killed there. Queens come forward, medevac goes down. Second medevac is going to get hunted down, and this is why often, once you add Corruptors, you often want to leave like 1 or 2 Corruptors with your Ultra, maybe, or a handful of Ling Bane on your offlane squad. So you'll have like your main army pushing the left side, and you'll have just a few units down here with 2 Corruptors constantly roaming so that the Terran can't do this annoying Clem stuff, where it's pick up, drop the high ground, drop the low ground, pretend I'm retreating, immediately drop and go and stim back in. And that's why you can see Reynor has split those units off. 5 Ultras, 9 Corruptors, bunch of Infestors. Watch out, there's an Infestor underground, but I don't think he can really unburrow. He does actually get a Fungal off on top of the Ghost. The Banelings connect. Massive connection there for Reynor. EMP quickly lands, does clip 2 of those Infestors, but the Ultras have already gone around the corner past the Liberator zones. The Libs are all dead. The Banshee's flying in, and of course with the Overseer providing vision, the Corruptors do snipe it. This whole army's getting wrecked. The Liberator's going down as well. The Libs are going to try and snipe some of the Ultras, but the Libs are gone. The Ghosts are going to get overwhelmed as well. Another Fungal lands on this right side. He pops up another Infestor. More Lings coming in. Ultra's trying to jump on top. The single Ultra on the left side. No match for that Planetary Fortress. It will go down. There's an Ultra on top of the production. That is kind of hilarious to watch. Another snipe does pop that. Finally, the Ultra on the production goes down. Ring around the command center. Pocket full of Ultralisk catnip, apparently. Those Ghosts. Who the hell brought Ultralisk catnip in your pocket, man? As they do end up running around in circles, finally defending. But of course, Clem is clearly on the ropes. He's barely hanging on. That being said, that was not a cheap move. Look at Reynor's supply. He's got a ton of gas. He's got very few minerals. He's not mining that many more minerals. He's 5 base against 5 base. And this is this weird thing that happens. It feels like Zerg have been getting kind of early momentum advantages in like the early, maybe that's just right in the mid game. Middle of the mid game. Zerg tends to have this kind of scary army. Terran's not quite as like lethal as normal. But then you kind of have this moment where it's like the income of Terran is actually very competitive. They are out trading the Zerg, even though in this case it's very close. Only about a 10% trading advantage for Clem, which is not as big as you'd like it to be. But if Clem can get back to maxing out while hanging on to 5 bases, I think he's in a good spot. Right now he is pushing, though, with a far inferior army, and that's very dangerous. And oh my. Oh, Reynor, unfortunately, he starts peeing on top of the missile turret rather than the planetary. If he went to the other side, he could have peed on the planetary. Does force the army to move over there. The big problem in a low economy situation like this is you do not know about these infestors. You cannot see them while they're burrowed. They can pop up, they can fungal you. You can't really afford a lot of scans to deal with that either. He's got 4 orbitals right now, but remember, he's lost one of his orbitals. He's got another command center in the main. He hasn't managed to morph that into an orbital just yet. Clem just trying to remax. Meanwhile, Reynor has 4 ultras, 5 infestors, 10 corruptors, 6 banelings, 58 zerglings, 3 more ultras on the way, so it'll be 7 ultras in the army. And I feel like for Reynor, it's pretty simple. If Clem doesn't move out soon, like I get Clem has to be careful. I was even saying he was being too aggressive. He's got to be careful. But if Reynor just smashes this base, remaxes, smashes this base, unless Clem gets a really excellent defense on one of those, he will get overrun. Reynor has an abundance of gas in the bank. He's got pretty good mineral income now. He's got a big mobile army. He's lacking banelings right now. It's mostly just ultras, lings, and corruptors. But he's also got those 5 infestors. 3 with the army, 2 on the map, or 1 in the bush, 1 over there. And he's looking to catch you on the retreat. This is really scary right now for Clem. This guy popping up on the left is going to be game ending. Oh no, he could be just ruining him. Fungals pop up on both sides. He chains one of the fungals. The corruptors do come forwards. Unfortunately, they're attacking the command center rather than the medevac. Some snipes land, and that's actually an amazing defense. Clem runs forward, clicks on an infestor, but he eats a massive fungal for his hubris. I cannot believe he ran towards the infestors there. That was the most Clem move I've ever seen in my life. Clem is a high-risk, high-reward player, ladies and gentlemen, and we just saw the risk rather than the reward. That is what happens. People go, oh, why is he so silly? Why is he always attacking? Well, guess what? He wins so many games by bullying Zergs. He will run at their infestors and snipe them down and dodge their spells or kill them before the spells even get thrown. In this case, he got punished really badly and it looked kind of silly. But that is what happens when you play a high-risk, high-reward style. It's why Clem, it's why Hero is such exciting players to watch. It's because they will go for the aggressive move. They will go for the high payoff move, even if it is low percentage for lesser players. And Reynor is going to tie up the series. Let's rewatch that one more time, guys. I want to just show you Clem's decision one more time to run into that fungal. Obviously, he wasn't choosing to run into the fungal. That's just the result of what happened. But, so, the infestors got some decent fungals, but the army wasn't close enough. Remember, there's no banelings. Normally, when you land fungals like this, you want banelings to connect with the marines and the ghosts. There's actually not that many ghosts here. A few more come from the left. All the ghosts are over to the left, and those are really the units you want to catch with the fungal at the front of the army. Because if they're protected in the back, they can snipe all the ultras, right? Now, there are 3 more high-energy infestors coming forwards. And you can see he was caught by fungal. So I think what his idea was, you guys are already at the front. Click the infestors down before you die, and then pull back. But if we watch this in slow-mo... Actually, it wasn't here. It was in a second. Yeah, now when he runs forward, this is crazy. He can see 3 infestors. One of them is burrowed, so obviously that guy can't fungal. So it kind of makes sense to kill him. And he does pop him before the spells land. And now you got to quickly turn and run. But he stays for an extra half a second. He does snipe this infestor on the left. He does get some more damage on the ultras. But this fungal lands. And you can see that it was not... He did turn to run, and it might have not been as bad. But all of his ghosts were right there. They were all blocking him, and they were all locked on to snipe the ultras. So the Marine Marauder couldn't move through them and was kind of getting blocked. So the ghost snipes actually blocked his own army. I think either way, he was probably a little bit too far forward there. And that's a brilliant fight for Reynor. Kind of pulls back and then turns around and ambushes him. Clem was in a really bad spot already, though. And it does feel like, you know, as much as I'm talking about advantages here, advantages there, it does feel like the balance is a little bit in the Zerg sway in the mid-game in a way where the momentum can run away with it. Yet I'm consistently seeing top Terrans making it very hard for Zerg to get creep out and to get a 6th base. So just looking for opportunities where they may be. Let's go to game 3. All right, guys, we're going on to Sanctuary, so no big 4-player maps. Wouldn't be surprised if Clem vetoed those. Best of 5, so 2 vetoes each. Reynor in the top right, Clem in the bottom left. This map, I often think of this as a Terran map because I think, oh, there's these nice ledges through the middle. Slow zone's bad for Zerg to fight into. Lots of ledges, destructible rocks that can create more choke points. Just you know, that's good for Terran. But then I look at it and I also think, well, there's also a lot of space. It's not a small map. It takes a while to get across the map. And these bases out of the edges get further and further away from both players. And more spread out bases. Yeah, it's good for Clem being annoying with his drops and his mobility. But will it be very hard for him to defend bases in the late game? Yes. Will it be hard for him to secure the corners? Yes. The only upside is that these bases are kind of not in the corner, but they're actually like indented on the map. And that means it's going to be a bit harder for a Zerg to defend those in the late game from Terran just running forward, sniping them and slowly taking them themselves. 13 barracks into 14 gas again, guys, here for Clem. Loving this build order, and he's going to pull that worker over exactly as he gets 75 minerals. Arrives at the gas, places it down. 15 hatchery for Reynor after doing a 12 overlord, 13 extractor trick. Or extractor trick 213 supply, I should say. We are going to be seeing a couple more drones coming out. Should be 1 minute 37 when the spawning pool goes down. The minerals here look a little bit less efficient. And remember, these drones also have a little bit further to run because they're spawning away from the minerals. So the spawning pool is slightly later. I think this would be the spawn position and map for it. But no, still right on 1 minute 37. It feels like pretty much every map is very consistent with mining these days. For those who don't know, back in 2015 and before then, maps were highly inconsistent in the Blizzard days in terms of the mining. It was only when there was psychotically detail-oriented, map-maker nerds who really perfected the minerals being exactly perfectly placed for consistency's sake, so that build orders would always line up the same. And that could be to either the advantage or the detriment of the game, depending on how you view it, because it's kind of interesting that the game naturally was a little bit more chaotic in the old days when Blizzard was making the maps, where you'd see, I mean, back in the days, we used to talk about different benchmarks. I remember Snoot was the one who was like, oh yeah, man. I mean, what was the map? There's a really common map in Heart of the Swarm that we always played for years. The most generic map of them all. Oh my god, it's eluding me. But my point is, that was the map we'd always talk about. Like, the hatchery timing you could get on that map was like 4 or 5 seconds faster than on any other map. Because the minerals were just so neatly organized. Now, slightly closer to your hatchery than on the maps. So all your buildings would be a little bit tighter. Your build just felt like every game, you just felt a little bit richer. You felt like you were doing your build a little bit better. Now, obviously, your opponent was getting the same advantage, but it just kind of, it gave you this little placebo almost, where you're like, oh, I'm playing better than normal, I feel like. Realistically, you and your opponent were both getting a boost. It cancelled out. It's kind of fun. After my foray into Age of Empires recently, it's been really fun to think about, how different a game is. And I think a game like StarCraft 2, it's kind of nice over the years that it's really prioritized consistency in many ways, because the game can be so frustratingly fast and difficult with like the speed, the breakneck pace. It's almost like there's often not enough pace to pay attention to everything. So sometimes it is good for something like the minerals to behave consistently, Whereas a game like Age of Empires 2 that at its face value has a slower cadence to it, obviously as you play it, you realize there's about 1,000 things to focus on at once. And you're kind of like, oh god, this is much like StarCraft 1. Yeah, your army getting jumped on by the enemy army is a bit slower compared to StarCraft 2, but everything else, it feels like your attention is split in more ways. Almost like there's more of a top-down general's view, multitasking view that's required in terms of all the little things you want to min-max and think about. Should I prioritize this or this, that or that? StarCraft 2 has always had one of the fastest engines. It's funny because I remember it didn't really dawn on me until I saw interviews with StarCraft 1 players in the early days of StarCraft 2, where they were saying, because I always thought StarCraft 1, I've watched Koreans play at the pro level, it's so insanely fast, there's so much going on, that looks impossible. I'm watching them play championships with sweat dripping down their faces, or like their hands flying across their keyboards, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And to hear those players, when they first played StarCraft 2, go, oh my lord, this game is ridiculously fast. They're like, the engagements are so sudden and so quick, and part of that's, the damage of the units and that sort of stuff. Part of it's also just the pathing. It's that engine. The engine is so smooth. The units path so smoothly. Everything can glide together. Units clump so much, which makes the units flow around very fast. But it also means it is a game of brutal reaction speed where if you ever face someone like Clem in a dark StarCraft alleyway, just accept your fate. Maybe go down swinging. You choose how you want to go down. But just remember, you're not going to win. You're not gonna beat Clem in a game like StarCraft 2. It's nightmarishing trying to take on a guy. Reynor as well. Reynor or Clem in a StarCraft 2 style RTS, these guys, they will make you feel every single bit of their speed. They're dancing in here, in there. That's why I think when these two play, it's so momentum based, right? And ZvT in general is even for average Joes, a miniature version of what we're watching here, where if you can be the one initiating, picking and choosing, distracting, bam, your drop's got a higher chance of getting in. If your Hellions distract here, the Banshee's got a higher chance of grabbing some drones transferring, because Reynor's not going to have the APM to track that blur of the Banshee and also deal with the Hellions rotating at the same time. So far, though, all is good. Only a few cancels on buildings, no other losses. Oh, but a queen goes down. Didn't have any extra second queen with transfuse on the front. Lair has just finished. Overseer will morph momentarily. Let's start morphing in the natural. Queens and Zerglings trying to defend the Banshee is bullying right now. Another Banshee's about to come in, but oh, the Banshee went just a tiny bit too close to the Spore, and honestly, I thought it got out of range there. I'd feel a little bit cheated if I was Clem. It must have just been barely on a diagonal of where the detection reached. And that Overseer comes in. Another one goes down. Oh, Clem with a big overcommitment. Guys, what did he get? One extra queen and a bit of distraction for both Banshees. If he'd stopped at the one queen, backed off there, he'd at least have a bit more map control, but I think he just senses the work account. And I gotta say, this Reaper into Alien Banshee build is not doing it for me, guys. Like, as much as I think Zerg's probably a little favored right now, and that's part of it, I kind of feel like a mineral... the Reaper build, especially with Reapers being delayed 2 seconds, I don't think it's getting enough value. I think a gasless expand, either Command Center first or something else. If you're going to play pretty vanilla Hellion Banshee like he's playing, you're not mixing in any sort of dynamic timing, I think his builds are not good. Strong statement, I can be totally... I mean, they're not good. Not optimal, I think is a better way of putting it. I think they might not be optimal. Let's hedge a little bit. It's a new patch. None of us really knows. I definitely don't, but... Especially with the lava nerf that came in and the Reaper build time nerf of 2 seconds. This to me, it feels like the worker advantage combined with the speed of Baneling speed compared to where the tech of Terran is. This is what makes this feel rough, because it's hard for him to hit a mid-game timing without Bane speed just crushing his attack as well. Often there's like early mid-game timings where you hit with stim 1-1 shields and they don't have Bane speed. Bane speed is consistently finishing before 1-on-1 in shields is. And that I think is what you need to be looking for as a Terran. If you want to play this sort of style, what made this style strong on the previous patch is that Linger on Buy gets perfectly defended by Clem. Only 2 SCVs in mining time. Absolutely mint. I think what you want to be looking for, and I know this is not my regular casting style, we're going to be doing a lot of this over the next few weeks, is just theory crafting while we watch games. I think it's going to be, yeah, the early 1-1 shields medevac Hellbat or medevac Marine tank timings are some of the best timings you can go for, as Reynor gets a big surround of those Hellions. And I think one of the crucial things is creating a window where you've got 1-1 in shields and they don't have Bane speed. If you don't have that, you might as well just be turtling up and playing defensive or something like that. I'm also curious to see how mech goes on this patch. Your bases take a lot longer to mine out. Mech should be stronger, especially on those giant 4-player maps. I think mech might actually just be the best style in TVZ. Armory second factory does come in now. Reactor's going to go down in the front. Tanks are building. Marines coming forward. So you can see, here we go. It's a 1-1 timing. He's got a single tank only, though. It's like a single tank, 36 Marines. Obviously, the other tank has been left at the third. Chadhammer with 19 kills over there. Is this really going to do much? I don't think so. 81 workers are up. Massling Bane. Reynor does need to make +2 melee. He's forgotten that little upgrade, and he does have a lot of money floating. He really needs that hive. It's just pure Lingbane and 11 queens. That's a crazy queen count. I know he lost 1 or 2 queens early. I think that kind of pushed Reynor into alert mode where he went, oh god, build more queens. Those can be good for buying a bit of time, tanking a little bit. They're not the most versatile or agile unit. They're very slow. One queen goes down, second queen takes damage. Banes get on top, but the Marines do pick up into those medevacs. Meanwhile, double drop in the south side. Going to try and multi-prong a little bit. Rainer's on the ropes right now in terms of defending this 5th base. Does he need it right now? Not really. Main's not going to mine out for 2 more minutes. Full 4-base mining is more than enough in this game. Tank and Marines holding that position. Reynor probably could have maybe overrun that, but wasn't sure about it. He wasn't confident. Oh, he's going to borrow 3 Banelings there. Very cute. Well, the Queens come south. Is Reynor over-respecting Clem right now? Well, he lands a big burrowed Baneling, and that says no. I don't think so. Lings are going to come forward. The tank will go down to these Zerglings. Same time at the south, Clem's going to try to push in there. He's trying to distract here, but this is just that. It's a distraction while he does his real push in the south. Baits the fungal. That's exactly what he was looking for. He's such a freak. I don't know how Clem so consistently pulls off that move. It's one of the most dangerous moves in all of StarCraft. Hot pickups are here, but oh, he loses a medevac with a bunch of Marines in it to those Queens. Double drop's going to go into the main at the same time. Clem does have his 4th base established. Planetary coming down. 3 more barracks, concussive shells, and his 2-2 upgrades about to finish. Hive is now kicked in. Adrenal glands, Hydras. And going Hydras at Hive Tech, guys, is awful. Corruptors are much better, especially this late in the game. I just think if you're going to go Hydras, you go them earlier. I don't know why you'd add Hydras this late. I think it's to counter Widow Mines. Okay, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. They technically can outrange Widow Mines. Hopefully, Reynor does remember Groove Spines, though. That's the most important upgrade to actually outrange them. Here we go. Lingbane's rolling forwards. The Widowmines get some decent shots. Oh, Widowmine does friendly fire some of the Marines. The Banes are going to connect there. Lingbane Hydra trying to hold on the south side. Up in the north, Lingbane Infestor is there, but the Infestor's a little bit far back, and that means the worker line's exposed. Reynor just mispositioned. There's no reason for that army to be down there. I think it was just a misclick. I don't think he meant to do that. I very much doubt he did. Lingbane, ooh, rolling forward. Widowmine landing a decent shot. 10 drones going down, and I feel like Clem here found some success where I wasn't expecting it. Oh, he's going to play Lurkers. That's why he's played Hydras. Interesting. Okay. It feels like it's not a very crisp Lurker timing, though. This feels like Reynor of old. I used to criticize Reynor many years ago that he was so good at lair tech that he would just kind of go Hive and then do nothing with it for several minutes, except to make Adrenal. Like, he'd go Hive just to make Adrenal, maybe to make 3/3 upgrades, which is not the worst thing in the world, but I felt like in that meta, everyone was struggling with, like, Lurkers and different things. But Lurker's going to come in against what looks like Lib range. Clem is ahead in supply now. Feels like Reynor's kind of been pushed into his corner. He's not had any counters, no activity on the map, because it's hard to defend 5 bases, and he's just got to focus all of his attention on doing that. He's got 2 Infestors, which is great, but he's not actually caught the drop with it. And that's why I think an Infestor down here would have been amazing. I always love Infestors on both sides of the map at once, because then it just forces so much more attention out of the Terran. Otherwise, that's going to happen. Beautiful move. Takes out all those Marines. Love him to... Yeah, he's going to burrow the Infestors and get forwards on the map. Use those as ambush Infestors. He's on more of a standard Hydraling Bane army now. Lurker upgrades coming in. +1 range as well. And that +3 carapace is miles ahead of the Terran. +3 attack. Infestor, Pervy Boy, very good vision. Sees the army gathering in the north. And no Overlord speed just yet. Started it. Use that to clean these Widowmines up. So many Lings and Hydras pulling north. Not so many Banelings on the map. There's 24 of them. Most of them are up north. Defuses a few of these Widowmines by splitting the Zerglings to drag those shots away from the center of mass. Queen's transfusing. Big drop going up north. There's spores there, though. And that's a very, very, very damaged medevac force. I don't like that commit. I don't like this commit. He goes for it. Of course he does. His name's Clem. He isn't afraid. And he's going to go in very, very deep. His medevacs are in range of the spore, though he loses one. Doesn't have any Marines inside. He's going to pick up, save some of these units. Will get out with a few of them, but a very costly trade. Groove Spines and Adaptive Talons on the way here for Reynor. Does Reynor have a Niduswarm is my question. No, he doesn't. He's kind of stuck on 5 base defending, and this gives Clem a lot of time to go Lib range. He's got more command centers coming in. No Spire in this game, and no Vipers, which means the range Libs kind of hard counter everything Reynor has. Big Widowmines do land. Those rocks collapse. That Widowmine gets broken. 2 Burrowed Widowmines over on that side as well. Up in the north, a few Marauders. The only thing that's left from the earlier drop. I'm going to try and dance backwards. Units lost tab 3,000 in favor of Clem. Clem's still trading. Oh my god. Oh my lord. A lot of Marines just got taken out from those 3 Burrowed Banelings. A lot of Marauders got damaged as well. Well, that was nice. I was going to say, the trading's still going pretty damn well for Clem. And I mean, it still is 2,500 or about, sorry, not even, just under 2,000 ahead. So it's still in his favor, but really for this matchup, you do want to be trading a lot better than that. You can see now how far ahead Reynor is. He's got that bank going. Lib's going to try to siege up here. Lings in the third is where the real damage could happen. Chadhammer gets sniped down. Adrenal Zerglings ripping it up. Those SCVs getting hammered. 9 SCVs do go down. Could have been a lot worse. Pretty good scrambling reaction. But Clem, ho, not paying attention at all. He's got to be scanning this, surely. Okay, he does drop the scan there. That was a very obvious mass burrow on his face. He does deal with it. Viper's coming out now. But 5 Libs. Interesting. I thought there'd be a much heavier Lib commitment here. But it's range Libs and 5 Libs, but not that many. I thought we'd see a big Lib push, and I feel like if they got in before Corruptors were here, that would be massive. But Reynor now realizing that's a lot of Libs, drops his Spire. He's going to have time to go Corruptors, or he might anyway. And for now, I think Hydras and Queens will hold him over. 12 Queens. Very, very tanky defensive force. They're not agile, they're not quick, they're not very fast, but they are able to transfuse through a lot of things. If he caught those Libs moving forward, that would have been nice. He did save both of the Lurkers with the transfusers. Big army up north. It's a big Hydra Bane army. This is an A move for Reynor, I think. He's got enough units he can A move. Clem's just going to try and get some value before he cleans this up. Liberator does go down. Attack in the south. Lurkers trying to hang on the transfuse. Machine gun transfuse goes down. But oh my god, the Queens and Lurkers. I mean, it's only 2 Lurkers. It's not enough damage. Ling's run in though. Clem has to respond at the same time, and I love this. I want to see more of these Ling run bys. You can't just let Clem dictate where and when the fighting happens, and I think he's realized that. That Queen, oh, the Queens are going to run forward and die, which is unfortunate. These Lings will take out a missile turret. Hydra Bane not quite committing to the planetary just yet, as that's way too dangerous, and that makes perfect sense. The nightmare of choosing to cast a Clem Reynor series, guys. Just need to pause in the middle of the action. You just have to miss some of the action. It's just the only choice. I'm like, I want to commentate everything that's happening. I can't do it. Physically impossible. Oh, massive fungals come down, and the Lingbane Hydra rolls forwards. Oh, the medevacs have to leave empty-handed, not saving any of those units. The planetary goes down. That is a disastrous play for Clem. I mean, I should say a resounding success for Reynor, because he's the one who made the play. Clem just got caught out by the fungal, that's all. But the results are very bad for the Terran, very good for the Zerg. Widowmine's going to take a few shots here, there, and everywhere. 9 libs, 8 mines, 8 marauders, 17 marines, 4 ghosts, but I gotta question this base to begin with, guys. Why is he expanding here and here at the same time? This seems like the Maru mistake. I talk about the Maru mistake, does it against Serral a lot in late game. One of the big reasons he loses late game against Serral is he tries to expand 2 opposite sides of the map at the same time. There is a really safe base here. And then once you take this base, you take this base that's right in front of it. But Clem, he's just kind of clicking bases wherever. It's a new map pool. He's not used to it. He's not studied it. You've really got to think about these maps in each matchup and what your expansion pattern is for the late game. But how many late games would he have really played against a Zerg this fast on this map? Probably not that many. He's still going to remax. He's still managing to snipe the Vipers down. Remember those snipes, though. 75 energy. Very expensive spells now. And the Lings getting in that third base. Marine Marauder Liberator doing what they can. Lings are on the third. SCV's taking a little bit of damage. Marines and Ghosts are on the rally point. Losing control of that area, and that base is not great. Oh, he wants to trap him. Reynor says, no, you can't leave. No, you can't leave. No. Oh my god, there's Burrowed Infest. He's splitting his army from both sides. Oh my lord, Reynor. He dives, but the EMP and the snipe on the Infestor. Is the rest of the army going to be able to get on top? The Banes try to get on top. The hot pickup is beautiful. He splits the Parasitic Bomb. Absolutely brilliant reactive micro from Clem, reacting in the blink of an eye. The hunted becomes the hunter. Not normally the way we use that saying, but of course, not too rare for us here in StarCraft. Overseer's going to take some big damage. Like the libs, they're using their anti-ammo. They're going to take out at least 2. Yeah, a couple of the Overseers, not too bad. Those aren't cheap units. Corruptors are finally building, and not a moment too soon. It's the delay on the Corruptors that's got so many Zergs killed in recent years against Clem's range Liberators. He loves the agility of these Liberators. Obviously, doesn't like it as much once Corruptors are out, but when there's no Corruptors, they are a game-winning unit. Lings are going to come in. Good little bio squad, but Clem not able to raise the door in time. Has a beautiful spready on his libs, making sure they are not stacked for Parasitic Bomb. Lings are tearing up his worker line on both sides. It looks like all of his bio out front got surrounded. The massive Ling counter for Reynor finds the damage. But is it enough? He's down 50 army supply. Clem here just fighting a gritty, down and dirty game. And it's such a crazy game because there have been moments where Clem looks legitimately screwed. Then moments where Reynor just cannot find his army. And Clem is like this elusive specter of Terran that is just always in your work line, sniping hatcheries, dropping and refusing to get his army caught. Vipers come forward, a big mistake. He's going to lose one of those Vipers. 2 of those Vipers go down. Parasitic Bomb, Medevac gets split off to the right, to the left side, away from the pack of army. Hydra Lingbane Desperation right now. Beautiful fungals. Holy moly, Omega fungals. Clem's army supply was unstoppable, but the Corruptor Hydra will clear through. And that might actually be a game-winning fungal trap. I thought this game was over. Clem has a new army coming up. But remember, where are Clem's bases? He's got this base here. He's still trying to insist on taking this base up top, which is utter nonsense. This base right here. You got to just drop a mule. Drop a mule, little mine. I mean, maybe not a mule. Just send 2 SCVs to it. I just don't think he realizes this base is here. There's too much going on. He's overwhelmed. He's overstimulated. And the problem is this base is always going to be a point of contention. Reynor's going to keep hitting this as well as the natural Zerglings. I guess this is not a bad base now because, well, Reynor's economy's up here. You want to be pushing up here anyway, and you can defend this base while pushing in the same angle. But like I said, those Zerglings are going to keep going around. They are constantly going to be going for that third base, and there's only one Liberator defending it. A couple of Corruptors going to come around the right side. They're going to start peeing on buildings as well. Always a good move there for the Terrans. Zerg For the Zerg, sorry. The drones need to run away. There's 35 drones on this base. The Lurker's trying to hold on, but it feels like Reynor just has so few units to work with. Corruptor's coming in. He's going to pee on this planetary. Oh no, Clem. He's going to lose the planetary fortress. That is incredibly costly. Fungal comes forward, but it's not enough. Reynor's army gets overwhelmed. And Reynor, he's only got 2 Infestors, 2 Ultras on the way. He needed to try to give that base up a little bit earlier. It was always going to be a tough ask, though. There's so many Marauders there. Queens with Transfusers will not be enough. Corruptors taking out the command center down bottom, but it is not enough. Clem has the giant army, and even with his economy getting mauled, we see that there is this surprising tail to the Terran momentum. It's this weird thing. Zerg's like further ahead in workers and supply than they should be in the mid game. Terran has this like shocking, just endless remaxing of armies because their bases take longer to mine out, so their overall mining rate from like 8.5 minutes onwards is just consistently higher than you expect it to be for the base count they're currently on. The game is so interesting because there's so many things that we've been playing on the same state of the game more or less for so long. To have these things change, to have players being forced to adapt to different situations, it's fascinating to watch and study. As Clem claws his way back in a game where I could have sworn he was quite far behind at one point. I do think the Hydras and the Lurkers did almost nothing for Reynor in that game. Perhaps if he scattered Lurkers around the map, maybe he could have used the kind of attention drain and draining the scans to get ahead, but really well played by Clem, who just stayed active, got in control, kept expanding. Does take the lead 2-1. All right, guys, on to Eternity's Edge. I think a bigger, more Zerg-friendly map. Not a bad map for mech. I don't think Clem's going to play mech. I think Clem's clearly going to do the same thing every game. It's a little unfortunate. I would have liked to see him play a little bit more dynamic in the opening, but hey, everyone, I'm sure he's tried things. I think he's just not had success with them, and he's kind of gone back to what he knows, which is fair enough. Reynor has not mixed in any pool first roach shenanigans or anything like that. I think he's known for cheesing, and Clem has done a few SCV scouts this game, so I don't know. For me, I'm very curious about if you do like a 16 pool into like just a classic Lambo 5 roach build. Love to see some people throw that at Clem. Just see what it looks like. Experiment for me, please. I'm sure there's plenty of people trying things like that on the ladder. Big map like this is obviously not a good choice for it. If you were going to do a roach aggression on this map, you'd proxy a hatchery, probably down here. Or on the natural itself, but probably down here. On about 14 supply. Maybe 15. And then build a gas and a pool at home. Pool and a gas. Second gas, get those Ravagers in as early as possible. Hope that Clem does not SCV scout. Which I don't think he will. I don't know, I feel like he's not going to bother. Anyway, 15 hatchery goes down. Is once again going to be that early barracks into that delayed gas. And I just think the weirdest thing, I'll show you guys at this time, just how long the barracks idles with this build. And just how much this shows Terrans are prioritizing their orbital command center over everything else. Or at least Clem is. I'm not sure about the other Terrans. So you can see, cuts SCV production here for 2 seconds and then starts the orbital. Whereas most people just build that barracks a little bit later. At 14, because they figure, well, it's not doing anything for a while. Finally, the Reaper starts up. It's quite a little delay on that first Reaper coming out. And this is, of course, the Reaper's still getting over there and being a nuisance. And this is with it now taking 34 rather than 32 seconds per Reaper. Fascinating to behold. It is indeed a blind 1-Rax expand, so if there was a game to do a proxy hatch Ravager cheese, maybe this was it. Does feel like the Reaper would still give time to react and get a bunker on the high ground, though. I doubt you'd be able to get a Ravager in there before that bunker's up. Kind of rely on the Terran being rusty more than anything, I think. Underestimating the power of a one-base Ravager mass. Reaper's going to come forward. Who's got 2 KD8? Actually, sorry, they're KD8. Who's got 2 P45 Gauss pistols and doesn't give a crap? Man with a jetpack. And you got to wonder just how much fuel is in that jetpack, right? He never puts his feet on the ground. He's literally perma-flying. Oh, he gets a drone. Reynor a little too slow on the spore trick, and building 6 lings and losing a drone does not feel great. Interestingly, rather than build 6 lings, I actually saw games where Cyril only built 2 or 4 Zerglings, and he would delay building some drones down here once or twice. Just to deny, so the Reaper wouldn't force spore tricks and delay them. Don't know what's more efficient. I think a lot of players are experimenting. I think everything we see in this tournament, there's a temptation to go, this is the best thing to do because this is what pros are doing. But I listened to some of the commentary here at HomeStory Cup over the weekend, guys, and let's just say a lot of those pro gamers haven't read the patch notes. Let's put it that way. And when I say a lot, I mean mostly the best players. The higher ranked a player is, the more likely it is that they did not read the patch notes. I mean, they are surprised by the most fundamental changes. It's like you're playing in this tournament. How do you not know? But I used to have I had this nightmare one time back when I was a pro player that I was at this tournament and like the game was completely unrecognizable, and everyone at the tournament was just looking at me like I was crazy, and they're like, "You didn't read the patch notes, bro." It's unironically the actual reality for some of the top players, except they still win tournaments while not knowing what the changes are. The difference between being actually good and being me. Good times. Hellions and Banshees are coming out. Link speed as well. SCV is building out of both command centers. We've got the Reaper dancing around. Yeah, I think I'm not sure if that was the same or it was a different dream where there was a building spikes upgrade where when you attack people's buildings, your units would take damage. So people could just mass buildings and your army would kill itself, destroying their buildings. It was an unbeatable strat. I was like, this is so broken. Bad dream, man. Bad dream. There have been some dodgy patches in StarCraft's history, but never that bad. Building spikes, of course, was an upgrade in Warcraft 3 for Orc. But did a little tickle of damage. Wasn't a crazy amount. I mean, fully upgrade. I think it was like 2 or 3 levels to it, wasn't there? Actually did some decent damage eventually, but I think it was only melee units, and obviously not the craziest thing. Bit of a rare investment, I believe. Extra barracks coming out now. Clem's loving this Hellion Banshee. Just very stable. Stay active with Hellion Banshee. Clem's not playing the most exciting build orders. He's doing the same thing every game. Clem is Clem. He just looks for consistency. He does like timings when he can do them, but he's clearly not found success with them. Oh my gosh. Clem's normally a bit more experimental, but I imagine on the ladder in the last 2 weeks he's been experimental, and now we see the things that he's found the most stable results in. I think that's 3 drones total, 1 Zergling, 4 a Hellion, not bad. Of course, double engineering. Oh, 1 engineering bay. Oh no, he does go double, just only 1 at the front. You know what's kind of cute about this, guys? That looks suspicious. If I see 1 engineering bay, I'm like, oh, is he 2 bays pushing me? Why has he only got 1 engineering bay? I wonder if he did this on purpose or just because there was that much space left to finish the wall. Either way, I like it. Queen's gonna go down. Banshee Micro is really good. So hard to not just overcommit and throw the Banshees away doing something silly, but look at that. Lots of mining time disruption, gets a Queen. Oh, and then overcommits and loses the Banshees. I think you can hide down here. There's so much dead space in the back of this map. There's literally a gigantic, smoky, bloody Elden Ring map down here, man. What is it, like Farum Azula or something like that? That's like what this whole area is. 3 more drones go down. Banshee's trying to dance around. Ooh, ow, 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 ow. Get out, get out, get out. And he does escape. Alien Reaper's going to find a few more creep trimmers. And oh, Reynor's gone Mutalisks. Oh my lord. Macro Mutalisks though, with a quick 4th. And he's expanded towards his opponent, which is not what you're supposed to do with Mutas. The reason he's done that, of course, is the Hellion Banshee's denying this area. So he's just like, okay, you're going to deny that area. I'll just take my 4th here. He will probably try to squeeze a hatchery up here. Got some creep dropping out of the Overlords as well. Double Evo Chamber coming in, but of course 1-1 is already almost finished for Clem. Gonna have a pretty big upgrade. Leave that Spire dangerously close to getting spotted there, but not quite. The Banshees are deep in the red. They have to back away. Will Clem expect this from a Reynor who's not played any Mutalisks today? Unlikely. So I wonder how much 2-base Muta we've seen. I think 2-base Muta is an exceptional build right now, especially like 2.5 base. Just macro to 2 bases full of workers. Go get the drones out, pump out Mutas. We'll build 1 round of Mutas, I should say, off of a 2-base saturation, and then you can pivot any which way. Mass Muta. Go for a Bane Muta all in with your first round of Mutas, or just drone the heck up. It's really hard for Terran to figure out which one it is, and they want to pressure you, so you don't have too many options, but if they move forward, your Mutas might snipe the medevacs when they try to pick up and leave. Okay, good pickup. 5 Mutalisks. rotating to the right side of the map. Second factory, Armory coming in here. Armory's a little slow. That is slowing down the 2-2 upgrades. That kind of hurts Clem a little bit. The upgrades have a bit of time to close the gap for Serral. When I say Serral, of course, I mean his teammate Reynor, who we're casting right now. Referencing Serral's builds earlier. This is Reynor. Slight difference in character between the two. Cocky banter up against very, very dry Finnish humor. Different demeanors from both of the lads. Mutas will come in and grab a couple of SCV snipes. Only one so far. A lot of damage on the other ones, but no real kills. Surprised the Mutas is so annoying, though. They do need to focus fire. And +1 armor means 5 Mutas is not the magic count to one-shot SCVs. I was like, why is he doing so little damage? Is Serral's focus fire that bad? No, it's not. Just Marines and SCVs take 5 Mutalisks to kill unless they have +1 armor. In which case the number is 6, which is why it's taking him 2 volleys to kill anything. And that's just really unfortunate. If Reynor built one more Mutalisk here, Reynor built one more Mutalisk here, not Serral, Reynor, pig, Reynor. If he built one more Mutalisk, then he would have done way more damage. But as it is, it's 3 SCVs, mining time. Not really what he was hoping for. On the other hand, 80 workers and it's Carapace. It's going to tie up the upgrades soon. If he can engage with this push while it's still 1-1, he's got a good, solid upgrade advantage. That could be nice. He's got a 7th gas coming up as well. Muta's still dancing around the middle. It's not many Mutalisks. It's basically mass Ling, a handful of Banes and Mutas. This is kind of a crazy army for Reynor. He's just going to go for it now. She comes in the right side. Spore Crawler's out of position. But the Mutas come back. And it was still in detection range, I guess. Okay, technically, yeah, it must have been. I keep being surprised by how far the detection vision is on those Spore Crawlers. Just a little bit further than I expected every single time. 4th Command Center's there. The Bio moving to the right side. Vehicle weapons. +1 on the way. Oh! For the Thors, really? Okay, if you get +2 vehicle weapons, those Mutas do really struggle, but how often that really matters, I would say, is less than the armor. I think armor is better because it helps medevacs, mines, and Thors, rather than just the Thor attack, so I'd criticize the prioritization there. 5th base goes down, though. Lovely counterattack for Reynor. He says, you can kill an empty 5th hatchery. You think I care, bro? Where's your 3rd base? And oh no, Drilling Claws. Drilling Claws. Oh, Drilling Claws is going to get denied. It does get denied. The Lings of the Mutas run in. So the SCVs try to go back to mining way too early. But the Mutalisks arrived as well, finding even more damage. Lingbane catch a few of these Marines as they try to retreat. Excellent counterattack for Reynor. And well worth losing his 5th base. His +2 Carapace is about a 1/3 of the way complete. And I think he should keep looping around with his Lingbane. Keep Clem at home. Keep trading on his side of the map while your upgrades catch up. There's now 8 more Mutas building, so he's going to go to 20 Mutalisks. Ooh. Keep in mind, Marines and Widow Mines are really what kill Mutalisks. Thors are just there because they do a very long-range splash damage shot. If the Mutas all clump together so that they can isolate individual mines and Marines and pick off units on the edges of your spread of units, when you spread off creep outside the base, a Thor shot will just punish you. If the Mutas clump like that, the Thor shot goes in the middle, hits 10-15 Mutas with one shot. They all take a massive chunk of damage, and it's like, oh god, I can't do that again. So the Thor is more of a, hey, you can't micro in a certain way when this unit is present. Otherwise, you'll take big damage. And otherwise, I mean, it tanks okay. It's got decent ground damage. It's not exceptional, really, for any other role, though. And it's very slow and unmaneuverable. Raymond's rolling forward, baiting quite a few of these Widow Mines. Here we go, Massling Muta on the 3rd yet again. SCV's lifted up. There's not enough units to defend. A few Marines do come back. Widow Mines trying to fire. The Banelings clean up those Widow Mines, but more Marines do get back here. Command Center does survive for now. And of course, Reynor goes into that main base at the same time. The Bio on the front almost gets overrun, but not quite. Reactor goes down on the starport. That's annoying. Oh no, you do not want to lose that starport. You've got 9 medevacs. You're okay for now, but it takes a long time and a lot of attention to rebuild a starport and an add-on. Guess he's got a spare reactor here, though, that he could use. Marines just getting jumped on by these Mutalisks. Oh, no. Clem right now panicking a little bit, and Reynor, you know he feels good when he can dance around with the Mutas and choose when and where the fights happen. There is a missile turret up, as well as a few Widow Mines. But the Lings, as well as these Banes and Mutas, going to come in. Clem tries to focus down the Banelings. He's got to pick up and get out of there. He does pick up and gets out of there. Focuses down the Mutas and a bunch of Banes. Gets away. Clem's micro utterly insane. Just milking every little bit of value out of these fights. And that's why we did say utterly, not utterly, guys. Because he's milking value. That's right, that's there, an accidental pun that we pretended was on purpose. As the Mutalisks do take out the reactors. Where's your medevac production now, boy? New starport's built in the natural, but it does not have an add-on. The Thor picks up, but like I said, on its own, the Thor doesn't really do anything other than force the Mutas to spread out, and Reynor's way too good to clump up for that. Dives on top, gets a Thor, gets a Widowmine. Clem feels desperate. He's like, screw this, bro. I may be on 4 bases, but it's a kind of ransacked 4 bases right now. I am going to go force a fight, but his 3-3 is seconds away. It's not quite done. The Banelings keep rolling in on creep, causing massive reactions. The Mutas are on top of the production. Lings are on the 3rd. This handful of Mutalisks is ruining Clem at home. Clem is essentially all in with this push. He's trying to force Reynor's attention home, but he's taking so much damage back at his base. The missile turret does take a few Mutalisks there. The bio dangerously deep on creep. No Widow Mines to fall back on here anymore. It's just Marines and Marauders. Clem is going to GG out of this game. He was still on 4 base and 72 workers when he started that push, but you could tell he was just angry. His production was getting damaged. Felt like he was chasing his own tail around in a circle, and Reynor was just picking away at him. Units lost up, maybe even in the Zerg favor. It is behind for Zerg, but with Mutiling Bane, that's expected. He's on a crazy work account this whole time. And of course, he didn't actually have a hive or an infestation pit. Reynor was fully committed to lair tech against 3-3. I think if Clem didn't do that push and just stabilized and calmed down, he actually wasn't in that bad of a position, because as good as Reynor is, and as much as he could have gone hive tech, he was having so much fun at lair tech that he didn't, which is a very Reynor thing to do. I think there was a little bit more chance to bring that game back rather than going for that desperate push. All right, guys. Well, Old Sun Temple. Reynor in the bottom right. Clem is going to heave a sigh of relief. You might be wondering why. It's because there's 2 ways this can spawn. It's either cross map or horizontal spawn. You cannot spawn vertically. And if you're playing Terran in this cross map, it is way harder than if you spawn horizontally. Because horizontally, Clem can take his natural here. If he's a wild man, he can take his 3rd here and literally be pushing directly in towards this base and these 2 bases. Now, of course, if Reynor's smart, he's not going to take this base. I mean, you could take it if you play roaches, but even then it's dicey with this ledge right in front of it. And these, it's scary. Normally, you want to go up to the north. You want to take your 3rd up here, mine these minerals out, take your 4th, and expand towards this empty location in the top right side. Mutas could be good for that style. Lingbane counterattack, that sort of stuff. There are some nice wide open areas where you can get some good fights. The middle of the map is just nightmarish for Terran because there's big wide open areas with speedy zones where Zerg units will jump on top of you before you have any time to react. And even in the late game, you just don't want to get caught anywhere near those. Ultras, Infestors, Lingbane, Corruptors, speedy zones. It's not a fun place to be as a Terran player. It's going to go for that 14 gas. And of course, Reynor going to be going for the 15 hatchery. But since it's drone down a little bit late, it's quite far away here on Old Sun Temple. So you see that hatchery, maybe just about 2 seconds delayed. Not a huge deal. We'll see if it affects the queen timing. Like, does the spawning pool kick in a few seconds before the hatchery so you can't start the queen straight away? It's not going to be game losing either way, but of course, good to check it out. 137 for the spawning pool. Super consistent. It's so consistent. I keep thinking, surely one of these maps where, like, the workers are on a different location or a different angle, like, someone's going to get it 1 second late. Feels like it's highly consistent. That being said, I wonder if Reynor speed boosts his workers at the start. I know Clem is doing that every game. Look, even now, 2 minutes in, he's still shift-clicking workers to get a little bit faster. He's also going to SCV scout, so his Reaper goes in the right direction. He's going to find Reynor straight away. Even if he didn't find Reynor, the SCV would go home because he would know through the process of elimination that it's cross-map. But in this case, it's going to be that flat spawn. Overlord can hide on this pillar. Awkward thing about this pillar is you could get this spiky bit on the back of your Overlord, and that you could pop it, could deflate. That's why he's going to back away. He's going, oh no, got to see that Reaper go out. And he sees the Reaper timing. 4 Zerglings on the way. Is Reynor going to build 6? He's been building 6 like every game. He does yet again. I'm just going to go depot into factory up on the high ground. And see starting SCVs the second the previous one finishes. Reaper threatens the drones, forces the Lings to engage. Pullbacks have been great for Reynor, though. He pulls back 2 damaged Zerglings. You know, Reynor hasn't really cheesed at all in this series. He has really not cheesed at all. Very straight up play for both sides. Now, obviously, if you look at Reynor, when Reynor feels confident in a matchup, he doesn't cheese that much, does he? It's when he's playing against Cyril in ZvZ, he'll mix your cheese in. When he's playing Clem in ZvT or Mario in ZvT, suddenly Reynor becomes much cheesier, much cheekier. He's playing a hero or a classic. You know, basically, it's only really when he's playing the very best players of each faction you see Reynor suddenly bring out all these big gambles when he feels he needs to roll that dice. Otherwise, he's happy to just dance. Reynor's a guy who, you know, I've often criticized in the past for, you know, and very lightly, not in a big way, but just saying, you know, there's a bit of lack of preparation sometimes where he likes to go into a series, see how his opponent's playing, and then adapt. And that can be very good. If you've got to be very good to pull that style off, I guess is what I'd say. And when you do it right, it does look kind of amazing. But it often means, historically, even in Reynor's best and biggest victories, he's down one game at the start of a best of 3, 2 games in a best of 5, and he's got to bring it back. And once he figures out how his opponent's playing and kind of switches into gear and just gets a feeling for what's working and what's not working, he can out-multitask the best players in the world. He can dance circles around them, and he picks pretty solid build order adjustments as well. Some tournaments, when he's really got the game on lockdown, you'll see him make super duper smart adjustments where he's really predicting what his opponent's going to do and countering it. Reaper's going to get pushed back by the Zerglings. Grenade goes down, and the Reaper, of course, is going to be just dancing back with those Hellions. Zerglings dancing back on that side as well. Evo Chamber's almost finished, so Carapace should be coming in immediately. Remember, it's only 100 minerals and 100 gas now. Way easier to afford that. Almost out of habit, I feel like most Zerg players have 150, 150 when the Evo finishes, just because you're like, oh yeah, that's what I need, right? Now, this is a 3cc 2-1-1, kind of old school for Clem. Pretty flexible, but I think what's good here for him is that he's playing it against a non-Mutalisk style. I actually don't know if it's any good against Mutas. It might be amazing, but I'm just not sure how the timings work out. And in general, squeezing the stim in, the Marines, everything, as well as the constant SCV production, it's hard to afford it all because it's such a quick third command center. Second Evo Chamber in the natural. Should be seeing the double upgrades, so melee and then lair with the next 100 gas, I would imagine. And the idea being you want your lair to start before this is too far along, because otherwise you can't start +2 Carapace immediately. But look at this, double drop's going to move across. Carapace is going to be ready just after this double drop hits, which is actually not badly timed. Double eBay, third barracks comes down. Little bits of missed SCV production Clem's got to be careful about. Got to keep that as 3 SCVs. He keeps missing SCVs on one of these command centers at a time. Of course, hard to get used to the new timing. Zerglings stop him here. He's going to pick up and boost forwards. The Queens are ready, so he tries to drop there, but the Lings are on top. Hellions drive in, and he's going to be able to unload, and that's a dead fourth. I said you should not be taking this space towards the Terran. Reynor tries to take it, which just, to me, shows a lack of knowledge on this map. You've got to already be mining these bases open, because otherwise, where are you going to take a 5th anyway? Like, you can't take the 5th here, obviously. So even if you fight for this 4th, you need this northern side to be opening. Now he sends the drone there, but he was not mentally prepared for this, and that's really bad. He's got 9 Queens, 44 Zerglings. It's always the hardest spawn on this map. As the Zerg, you can't play like 100% safe, solid, easy style or anything like that. There's no favors you're going to be getting. It's not cross-map. Cross-map feels way more comfortable. Now he's going to start mining these out. You want to mine that completely open with 2 drones. Just leave them mining it for a few minutes until they take it out. It is like 10 minerals per patch, so it'll take a little bit of time. Problem is, if they see you doing this and they deny it with like a Banshee or something, they can delay that getting open for such a long time, and it sucks as the Zerg. Infestation goes up, +2 Carapace, 3 hatcheries building at once. You love to see it with a mass Zergling style. 5th base. And that macro hatch, which is in front of the 3rd, which is a pretty central position where you think about where all the fighting could happen in this game. Now, obviously, this ledge is a nightmare. This is why this base kind of sucks, right? That's why I do prefer Mutalisks on this map, because then you can shut down moves like this a bit more decisively. You got to also realize how far out of position Clem is to be denying this. Like, this is... His army's way out of position, but... Oh, hold on, Clem. Queens are right there. You got to pull out. I don't think this is a good commit for Clem. He's going to stim to run away. He doesn't want to take more damage on the medevac. Things are coming down as well. Meanwhile, these guys coming in. The Zergling count, I mean, he's only on 68 workers. And remember, Reynor, he's got a Baneling Nest, but no Bane speed. This is a Ling Infestor style. The Baneling Nest just happens to be hanging out as a just in case. I guess I can make a few slow Banes. Fourth Command Center is on the way. Second Factory Armory in the back. 2-2 has been delayed by that. +2 Carapace and +2 melee already well underway for Zerg, as well as the Hive. The Zerg tech off the charts right now. Marines are going to pull north. Marines and Widow Mines going down to the south. He's going to try and drop across the mineral patches there. Ooh-wee. Okay, Marines and Widow Mines pushing forwards. Let's see how they do. These Marines darting into the mineral line. Hello. A couple drones go down. Lings, Overlords do get picked off. Those guys are going to pick up and pull away as well. Scans come in. Creep Chimmers do get sniped. Marines pulling back on that side. These guys pulling back in the north. Ling Infested trying to hang out. Guys, is Clem going to go for the right side? He is. Oh my god, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to expand next to Reynor. I mean, this should be a massive advantage for Terran if you can not throw an army away, which for Clem might be a big ask because he is such a hyper-aggressive player. Also, right now, worker count's just grown for Reynor. Reynor's going to go for a huge Ling run by. Oh, and Chadhammer's on the low ground. She should be on the high ground, shouldn't she? He's not protecting her on the high ground, which means she's going to get wrecked by the Zerglings. Ling run bys have been such a big part of the game. But there is a good pack of Marines and Mines that have only just moved out. They should be able to turn back to respond pretty quickly. Chadhammer's going to go down. The double drop pickup is nice. Those Lings get smashed. Oh, beautiful Marine drop. That Marine drop behind the third is huge. Meanwhile, Fungal! Fungal! Oh my god, but the Marines pick up just before the Slowbanes can commit. Oh my god, this is a huge move. And Clem with a massive hold. Look at this. Marines are defending in the choke point. Wait, are they? Are they? Oh my god, they're getting overrun. They're actually getting overrun. The SCVs have to abandon. More Marines are there. Got to be careful. Those Widow Mines don't friendly fire. The Medivacs are taking big damage. This fourth of Reynor is going to go down. Reynor's going to be back to 3 base. This is a huge play for Clem right here. Reynor is looking, unfortunately, to be dead. It's just such a bad base to take. You know, it sucks to take the northern base, but like I said, I think that's why you've got to really commit to defending the high ground and the low ground. It's really hard. You've got to push your creep, mine those minerals open, get that hatchery up way earlier so your queens can defend that northern side. It's just so hard to do on this map, and Clem has denied it so well. And what a clutch defense on that third for Clem to go and realize if I drop Marines back here, they'll naturally be in a choke point. What a great move. He's going to take out one of the last queens here. He wants that queen so badly, but actually she pulls back. The Lings protect her. And the Marine Mine's going to head north and deny the base, which he knows must be there. But in fact, little does he realize, Reynor does not even have that expansion. And actually, Clem moves his whole army out of position for a base that does not exist. The Mass Ling comes in. It's a desperate counterattack, but it might be the counterattack that he needs. Widow Mine's getting some good shots, though. And that will stave off the advance. Nicely done. Fungal is available. These Overlords, these Creep Tumors, all taking big damage here. The Marines and Mines jamming it. And he does save a bunch of the units. Of course, the Fungal traps a bunch of others. Oh, Lib takes out the Infestor. Brilliant plays here for Clem, but he lost 17 workers. Where did he lose those? There's still a Zergling in that natural. A bunch of SCVs went down there. There's 2 Marines in the main. Not sure what happened there. Maybe a drop flew in and died. Marines and Widow Mines all going down, but it doesn't matter. Clem loses 17 workers. He still has 4 command centers. He has a planetary on his 4th. He's got a big worker count, 63 to 77. Obviously, Reynor has a bigger worker count, but he's got not many places to mine from. The main is half mined out. Now remember, the minerals last longer. It's not as desperate as 3 base would be, and 12 workers from this position. It's still pretty bad. That is a 4 base Terran. Yes, you've got a lot of workers, but without a 4th hatchery to mine from, Reynor is playing from so far behind, and this is just looking so nice for Clem. Clem fighting very hard in this game and this series, looking fantastic. I think a lot of people thought Zerg was going to do really well in this tournament, but it's the upper bracket finals. Not only has Clem made it to the upper bracket finals, he has taken out Reynor there with a 3-2. Admittedly, good map spawn, not getting cross map, but I think we can see just how important it is to spread creep north aggressively and have a pack of queens here, so if they're dancing high ground, low ground, you can at least defend the hatchery, even if mining the minerals itself might take a little bit longer to get up. Tough to do, though, on this map, and the Massling Infestor style especially is going to be even tougher. If you get either Hydras or, I think Mutas probably, it's going to be a little bit easier to defend this, because I think you need to overcommit to lair tech to secure this 4th, and then one of these is your 5th base, and then like you want to kind of dominate the map. You want to try and hold the watchtower. If the Terran holds the watchtower, you're countering through the south and looping around the north and coming around the top side, or if they're committing to the south push angle, you can commit through the watchtower in towards their 3rd base, and I think it's all about those counterattacks. as Zerg. Very similar to the Mothership theory, which a lot of Zergs have really struggled with, right? A lot of people say, Mothership's so bad, how am I meant to play Mothership? This map sucks. And I think my big criticism was that a lot of players have been kind of used to the same maps for such a long time, and it is hard. It is hard to switch gears. It's hard for me to pull off those styles as well, but I think it creates a really interesting challenge because you got to realize that as bad as this base feels to defend, when you've got a map designed like this, look how far it is for Clem to push that. I mean, it takes him a friggin' year to get across a wide open map to push there. So whilst he can drop this base very annoyingly, committing to a real frontal push up here is incredibly hard. And if you don't have this base present, he's got to push all the way in and up this ramp to get in range of your natural and anything serious. Yeah, you can try to elevate on the ledge. It's not exactly a high intensity pressure where he's constantly just having to pick up and drop on the low ground. So I think it's a map which I would imagine in this spawn works out pretty well balanced. Definitely cross map quite Zerg favored. I think this is a bit Terran favored, but I think it's closer to balanced compared to cross map. I think cross map's more Zerg favored than this is Terran favored. But that's just my opinion. Anyways, nice win there for Clem, guys. Really impressive to see his strategies on the new patch. And he goes to the grand finals of HomeStory Cup, our first big Premier tournament on the new patch. So really cool to see what he can do there and see if he can take the trophy home. GG, well played.